I'll be honest with you, I will never forget waking up to the tweet and then later bracing myself after seeing the shocking photos of this rising political star. In the photos, he was naked, unconscious, lying in his own vomit in a Miami hotel room with another man who was overdosing. Police found pills and suspected baggies of meth, but no one was criminally charged of any crime that night. The fallout, though, left Andrew Gillum in a prison of shame that he says he built by decisions made that night. Let's go to Miami. You were there for a wedding.
I was, yeah. I went down to Miami a day early because my staff in Miami put together some meetings that they wanted me to do. RJ was flying in the next day, and then we were meeting up with 5 couples. We had rented a house in Miami. I had a plan, had an agenda, had all of that, except I had free time before everybody started to land. And so I spent it how I would normally spend free time, and I started drinking probably noon that day in the afternoon.
Were you alone during that time?
I was on Miami Beach.
How many hours were you there drinking?
Probably 4 hours before I left. I'm texting with a friend about, hey, are you out? What are you up to? Frankly, trying to have company at the bar.
How long had you known this friend? Who was this person?
A couple months, someone who had came up to me, frankly, while I was in Miami.
Not a friend then, an acquaintance?
An acquaintance, somebody who I met who said that they regarded me for the race I ran. That then, you know, for me led to a level of trust that I probably should have withheld, not knowing folks.
Why wouldn't you go and meet your friends?
I don't trust my judgment in that moment anyway.
So you left the bar at one hotel in an Uber, headed to meet a friend.
A quick what's up? And I get there and I have another drink. This one's prepared for me. And the last memory I have is sitting there drinking. The next memory that I have is I am in a bathroom with no clothes on, with 5 police officers. And the EMT worker said, your friend had an overdose. When I heard overdose, I thought dead. And they asked me, did you take anything? And I'm like, no, I didn't take anything. I said, I was drinking earlier, but you know, that was it. And he says, are you aware that you have been vomiting, that you could have choked on your vomit? I said, no.
Even now, you don't know what happened to you?
Now, I have no idea what happened with 3 hours.
Had you only had alcohol that night?
That's all I had. That's all I had that night.
No drugs?
No drugs.
Who else was in the room other than the 2 of you?
That was it, all I knew, and the officers. At the time that I had last consciousness, it was only 2 of us.
2 in the room when you lost consciousness.
Correct.
When you regained consciousness, you...
It was everybody.
Police. Was your friend still there?
No.
So your friend is the person that allegedly overdosed?
Correct. Not there. It was at this point, after midnight, the lieutenants then say, I will give you a ride over to, you know, your hotel.
What was the conversation like with them to the hotel?
Quite interesting. I remember them saying, we know who you are. And I'm thinking, if there is a potential crime that has happened here, certainly there ought to be more going on, which is why my first call was to my family to let them know, likely you're gonna have to meet me at the police station or whatever it is.
So you thought you were going to be arrested?
I wasn't sure. Well, there would not have been a reason for me to be arrested, but I was thinking I would at the very least be a witness. Somebody would ask me what happened,
right.
And I would have to tell them and that kind of thing, you know, what I knew. But none of that happened. They just took me to my hotel, and I take an Uber, get to the rental house.
Where was RJ?
Asleep.
Did you wake her up?
I said, Jay, she didn't wake up. I didn't want to wake her up, to be quite
scared?
frank. I was terrified because I knew what I had put her through, but I was also terrified because of what I didn't know. So I wasn't sure exactly what I was supposed to say. Daybreak comes, and at this point I know I have to tell RJ, and what I think I'm telling her is there is a chance I may be a witness to a crime.
Who's calling you?
Everybody.
A controversial conservative blogger tweeted out a leaked Miami police report with a bombshell accusation. Andrew Gillum allegedly was involved in what she described as a crystal meth overdose, including a suspected orgy with 2 other men. The Twitterverse had a field day. What did you tell her happened?
Other than the fact that I can't use the language here, but I basically said up, I passed out.
But then there became this undercurrent conversation.
Yeah.
About who and why you were there.
Yeah.
You and I both know that people are waiting for me to ask you about this relationship with this person. Yeah. I'm struggling with it, and I've told you that. Because I think to ask you if you are gay or if this was a relationship causes us to lose the focus of what the point of this is for me. Because being gay is not a disqualifier.
Sure.
Putting yourself in a position as a politician or any type of person where you are compromised, that someone could leak out a picture, that you could be blackmailed, that your family could be hurt in this way.
Yeah.
That's the relevant part here.
Yeah.
What do you want people to know about the purpose, your intention when you went to that room?
I would say the reason why I went to that room is probably no different than how anybody might communicate with someone that they are in a friendship, relationship, whatever, with. I understand very well what people assume about that. When that photo came out, I didn't recognize the person on the floor. That was not pornography. That was not a sex act. That was not anything more than a person being at their most vulnerable state, unconscious, having given no consent. And someone decided to use a moment where I was literally lying in my own vomit. And so the truth is that, Tamron, everyone believes the absolute worst about that day. At this stage, I don't have anything else to have to conceal. I literally got broken down to my most bare place, to the place where I wasn't even sure that I wanted to live, not because of what I had done, but because of everything that was being said about me. What was most hurtful was this belief that I was somehow living a lie in my marriage and in my family. That was the most hurtful to me because I believe we're all entitled to mistakes. And I believe we're entitled to those mistakes without having every other respectable and redeeming part of our lives invalidated. And I felt like the love that I have between my wife and I, my family, but most important, the authenticity that I tried to lead with was all in question at this point. And not even in question anymore. Something else had been assumed by that. And to be very honest with you, when you didn't ask the question, you put it out there, is whether or not I identify as gay. And the answer is I don't identify as gay, but I do identify as bisexual. And that is something that I have never shared publicly before.